Hello, good afternoon. Today's live topic is if the demo or presentation disappeared. And the second part of that is would you, as a seller, would your team, as a sales team, still be essential? So let's have a conversation about it because the theme for this month, the entire month, has been the shift that we're seeing in sales with the rise of AI, how things are quickly moving, quickly accelerating. And it's really hard to keep up and even harder to recognize some of the trends. And frankly, some of the trends we're not really seeing. I had a coaching call with a client the other day, and as we were talking through some of the issues and doing some of the work, we started to have a conversation that frankly really concerned me. And it's a theme that I'm seeing amongst sales teams, but amongst individual sellers in particular. And this is applicable to you, whatever you sell. So if you're with a CPG company, if you're selling SaaS products, if you are in manufacturing, this topic applies to you. So please do try to pay attention, take some notes. Later, I can give you some pointers and some tips, so we can have a conversation. But anyway, so the person I'm working with, I'm coaching him one to one, and we were just having a conversation. His organization is stuck in some wrong thinking, and also some of their foundation is incorrect. So one of the biggest issues is they are selling to the wrong ICP. I don't know if they know it or not. I'm hoping they do and hoping they realize it by now. But they're selling to the wrong ICP, and they're completely doing the wrong things. They're sending the wrong messages, and they are selling transactionally. Now, for background, my client has hit President's Club before. They have made every sales trip. They've been a rock star at all their SKOs and everything. And they are being forced into transactional selling. So they're being forced into this box because their organization is frankly misaligned on a couple of key things, right? And when you're misaligned on your ICP, it leads to all kinds of other downstream problems like revenue problems, not being able to hit quota consistently. And the key thing is the value that my client brings to this organization is being completely diluted and completely untapped. And it's very frustrating for my client, it's frustrating for me to see. So we're doing some strategizing and so forth. My client's very capable. He usually hits his numbers. He's very smart. He picks up on things. And so I don't have any doubts about his capability. He's very capable, but he's forced into this transactional selling box. Smart, capable, hitting numbers, etc. The problem is when we're forced into selling transactionally, and even if we're selling transactionally as a matter of course, our value is diluted, and it's going to be diluted even further with all the automation, all the AI, and all the other tools that are coming down the pike. And I say that because if you really think about it, like the topic, the title is if the demo or presentation went away. Well, your organization probably does not need you to do a full-blown demo. They really don't, because most organizations should have and do have at least a short recorded demo on the website. Or if you're in a manufacturing company, they have some kind of information on the website. So your customers, potential customers, can go there. They can look at that video, or they can copy paste, throw it into AI, and get a synopsis of what your product or service or solution does. So as sellers, our value is not these transactional things. And it concerns me that we are still focusing in on these things and thinking that if we're doing these things, we're doing our job. That might have been true 6 months to a year ago, but is no longer true today. So if we're selling transactionally, that's not where our value is. Our value is not demos, features, product walkthroughs, etc. All those things are becoming commodities. And frankly, we're putting ourselves, our livelihoods, and our roles and positions in the market at risk by not recognizing this. And let me tell you why it concerns me, and let me tell you why this is a problem, frankly. So my client said that they were at a meeting. Like, I have to be very careful about what I'm saying because I don't want to say who it is. My client was at a meeting and they were with other sellers in their organization. Okay. And they were talking about this problem with the ICP that everybody knows exists. Now, the sellers know that it exists, but leadership, unfortunately, either don't know or won't recognize or won't fix the problem. So there's that. So they're all standing around talking. It's very informal. And as you know, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Okay, that is a truth. That is a universal truth. And someone said, well, we're not going to really worry about that because we know we're just going to discount anyway. We're going to show the demo to this person and we're just going to discount anyway to get the deal. And everyone, which was more than 5 sellers, was just ha 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 in agreement and so forth. And it was not really a concern to them. So this sent up immediate red flags in my brain. I'm just like, okay, we don't really understand what the ramifications of that kind of thinking is. We're thinking that if we do discounts or if we just sell transactionally and we just do the what is now the minimum, which it wasn't before, but it is now, if we just do the minimum, we're going to be fine and we're going to be able to get the deal. That's not the case, guys. I'm really sorry. Especially this organization is now run by a PE. We all know what that means, or we should know what that means. It's only a matter of time before they look at the revenue and look at the forecast. This isn't panning out. We're not getting the revenue return that we should be getting or that we expect to be getting so we can get our money out. Like, this is how business works. Therefore, we have to make a decision now on either what we're selling or who's staying and who's going. That's what it comes down to. It's very concerning for me because I've had many of these conversations where we as sellers just seem completely oblivious to what is happening in the market right now. Like, all the automation, all the AI has completely devalued some of what we do. And it was kind of inevitable, but now it's just accelerating. And I get it, but I don't get it. I get it because we're in the soup, what I call in the soup, like that's my term, in the soup day to day. So we're doing demos, we're having client calls, we're doing all these different things, and we just don't stop to reflect and think about what does this really mean for me. We're trying to hit quota, we're trying to do all these things, but we don't really recognize what it's going to mean for us later down the line. And I have had some conversations with sales leaders and leaders of technical organizations and people in the AI space, and we have no idea, or salespeople have no idea what's coming. I mean, really, if you knew the depth of it, we would really have more urgency about it. We would really understand more, right? So I'm having this conversation and like all these alarm bells are going off in my brain. I'm just like, we need to do a 180, but we need to raise the bar on recognizing what's really happening within the market, not just our industry, not just our organization, but what's happening in the market. Because if we continue to sell transactionally and do all these transactional things and put value on what is no longer valuable for us, then we are going to wake up one day and we're going to be obsolete. It just is what it is. The bottom 95% are going to find themselves not with a role, struggling to keep up in the market and just not being able to make themselves valuable, right? And it's the ones that the top 5 to 10% that recognize this, that see what the possibilities are coming down the pike and act on it with regards to their skills and how valuable they are to their organization and what things are actually valuable now, what moves deals now. Those are the ones that their organizations are going to fight to keep, and those are going to be the few that are going to be left when these PEs, when these VCs, when these organizations start making these decisions, right? Okay, so transactional selling is completely transforming, is completely disappearing. AI automation can do a lot of the transactional stuff. I'm going to give you another example. I talked to a CEO recently, and he's a CEO of a technical organization, and what his organization sells is completely going to transform what CRMs are, what they look like, what they do, and if they're relevant or not. So that's just the tip of the iceberg, right? And we're all used to working in the CRM, or we should be. It's devalued, but that's another story. But when I talk to the CEO, like again, I have these red flags and alarm bells going off in my head. I'm like, people are just not, we're not ready for this. We're not ready for this kind of transition. We're not ready for this kind of revolution. And it's happening right under our noses. And we do not recognize it. And it's so important that I don't want to be rude, but we start to wake up to this stuff and we start to realize what's going to make us valuable and shift our skill sets, start making our skill sets better and sharper. Okay, so having said that, the real value that we bring as sellers, as sales organizations, is how we think about things, how we're able to motivate our buyer, how we're able to look at their business problems, their organizations, things like their revenue, things like their margin, and help them make improvements on those with our product, solution, or service. This is what the market is shifting towards valuing, and it's doing it more and more. And we're seeing that organizations that sell transactionally are falling by the wayside. So that is what's valued in terms of skill. Now, another thing is I'm in a networking group with a guy. His name is Vance Morris. Look him up. He's a customer experience expert at understanding what makes customers stay with the company, what makes customer retention. And I talk about this a lot, talk about the race to the bottom a lot when we're talking about selling transactionally, but he put it much better than I ever could and much more eloquently. So thank you, Vance, for this. He said, you never want to be in a race to the bottom. And what we mean by this is when we're selling transactionally, there's a cap on what we can do and the levers that we can pull, right? We're selling transactionally. We end up competing on things like price, speed, quality, and customer service, which is the bane of my existence. I hate hearing that. But we put a premium on these things and we're competing in that way. You cannot win, and nobody wins in a race to the bottom. And he said the reason is there's always somebody better, cheaper, faster that has better customer service than you do. So if we're always selling transactionally and we're competing at this race to the bottom, like my client, remember I said he's forced into this box where he has to sell transactionally because of the structure of the organization, because of the ICP misalignment, and because of the process misalignment. Like there's a couple of stages that are missing in their sales process, and I'm helping him strategize with regards to that. So some of the things that we're doing is we are having 2 tracks and 2 strategies for 2 different ICPs that this person is talking to. So we're doing that now, and I believe that's going to help solve the problem. The other part that we're doing is we're putting in one other step in the sales process, in their sales process, to make it easier for this person to do consultative selling and do what the market really values. Because this race to the bottom is going to go nowhere. And in the age of AI, if we're selling on price, benefits, features, all these things, we're going to lose and we're not going to hit our revenue. And then organizations have to make these decisions, right? Who's going to stay, who's going to go? And they make these decisions based on what they see, how you're able to think, how you're able to make decisions, and how you're able to move your buyer, and how you think about deals in your pipeline. This is how they make these decisions. Your organization will not tell you that they're evaluating every single seller in the organization. They will not tell you that, but they are absolutely doing that. And don't ask me how I know. I mean, I'm talking to a lot of different people. So I'm going to also read you something because this is really, really relevant. I saw this posting. Where's this posting? Okay, I saw this posting and I screenshotted it. This is the litmus test, and this is the proof that the market is shifting, and we need to wake up and pay attention. Now, listen to this. This is a job listing that I saw. I'm not going to name the company, and I'm going to keep some of the words anonymized. It says X is a platform that deploys AI-powered employees for revenue teams. These X have a face, voice, and deep technical and product knowledge. Remember, product knowledge and expertise are commoditized right now. So, and this is a big organization. Let me go on. They lead unlimited simultaneous conversations 24/7 to qualify and pitch leads on websites, join conference calls as active participants, run custom demos, provide real time support, and work alongside your team in deal rooms, etc. So, this is a real job listing, and this was for a sales leader role and some other roles that they have open. And if that is not telling you what's happening in the market, then I honestly don't know what is, right? All this transactional stuff is being replaced. Your differentiator as a seller and as a sales leader, your team's differentiator is the ability to think, make decisions, and help lead buyers to decisions and think strategically about the client's business every step of the way and help them make decisions. This is what human buyers need us as sellers to do. But in order to do that, we have to get out of the transactional mindset and we have to get into the consultative mindset where our thinking is our differentiator and not all this transactional work, not the busy work, not updating CRM, which I just said. My CEO friend that I talked to, they're completely going to redo the CRM landscape. So that's probably going to transform and it may no longer be a thing in the way we think it is. Updating the CRM, doing demos, like I don't know why we think that that's a value add. It isn't, at least not in the way that many sellers do it today and not in the way that my client's organization does it, right? As a general demo, we're just showing things and it's, it's just a race to the bottom that way, okay? So the bottom line is that your differentiator, our differentiator as sellers is how we think, how we make decisions, how we help lead others to decisions, and how well we understand a client's business and connect with them on an emotional level and understand what they have at risk. Okay, we're thinking about risk. We're thinking about things like COI. We're thinking about implementation lift. All of these things. These are things AI can help you with, but it still needs a human to disseminate it, and it still needs a human to communicate it to the buyer. And our buyers, frankly, are tired of all the freaking automation. They don't want an AI SDR calling them, but by God, our organizations are going to do it because it's going to cut down on the cost that they have to pay. This is just the reality. This is where we are. Okay, so if this hit home for you and you want to have a conversation about it, please do DM me. But if you don't do anything, action on this advice, please start listening with intent to what you're hearing in the market and actually understand, like we talked about last week, with Walmart freezing hiring for 3 years, and they're saying that their headcount is not going to go down. We know better, right? Tell me we know better. The headcount is going to go down. They're evaluating. They're just not freezing hiring and looking at AI and, oh, nothing's going to happen. Like something's definitely going to happen. So we just need to start waking up and understand that selling transactionally is no longer a value add. That's actually baseline and it's going to be phased out if it hasn't been already. The value proposition has shifted to what we do as sellers. And we need to up-level our skills, learn to think better, and learn to communicate these things to our buyer and help make our buyer's business better. And that means up-leveling our business acumen to where we're actually an asset to our buyers and we're partners with our buyers. And by doing that, by demonstrating that, our organization is going to fight to keep us versus the other 95% of sellers that are going to be let go because all these other things have been automated and they're not valuable anymore. And I'm sorry, it sucks. I hate that this is happening, but it is happening. And now that we're aware of it, our job is to protect ourselves, protect our value, our income, and our lifestyle, and action on these things so that we raise our value in the marketplace and understand exactly what's going on. Like, don't delude yourself about how fast this stuff is moving. Like, seriously. Okay? So this is all I have today. I'm really, really concerned about, the people that I work with, that I coach, and these are things that we're talking about all the time, and we're mitigating this, and we're up leveling their skills and so forth and so on, so that they retain their value and they actually increase their value, because the bar is not high. The bar is really not high for top flight elite performance in sales. It's not that high because 95% of sellers are going to fall below that bar, right? So if you can just get your skills to a little bit of a higher level and increase that and keep practicing and keep making it your business to become valuable and what the market is rewarding now, you are going to be in the top 5%, and you're going to be one of the ones that your leader fights to keep, that your organization fights to keep, and you won't have a problem finding a role if and when the unthinkable happens. Okay. So again, my name is Leah, and I will come next week. I'm having a live next week training on how you can implement and action all these things. I'm going to have a couple of frameworks, maybe an offer or two for you to take advantage of. But tune in next Wednesday at 12:15 p.m. Eastern, where I'm going to have a live training. I will post the registration link, and I hope to see you there. I hope this was helpful, and I will talk to you soon.